Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alicia Lott, and this channel is for those of you who want to have a journaling routine that is messy, minimalist, and low budget, and for those of you who use journaling for mental health and growth and feelings and stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to talk to you all about negative self-talk, and I've actually spoken a lot about this on my channel, but it still rears its ugly head sometimes, and I just wanted to kind of check in with you all and see, how have you been speaking to yourself? Have you God, the sun is bright. All right. Yes. So, how have you been speaking to yourself? Have you been nice to yourself lately? Have there been any rude things that you've said to yourself that you wouldn't say to a friend or family member? I want to make sure that I'm catching myself when I say things. So, just in this past week, I have said things like, "You are a bad friend. You are a bad daughter. You have no skills. You will never be hired. No one wants to hire you. You cannot write." What else? Yes, I could go on and on. So I don't know if you've been feeling the same way. I don't know if you've been kind of struggling with that maybe in the past few weeks. So I wanted to explore that in this video. I mean, if you don't hold yourself in a higher regard, what will be the point of moving forward? What will be the point of wanting to educate yourself or exercise or eat right or anything like that if you don't think that you're worth it? If you are speaking to yourself in a negative way and you feel that you are less than, what would be the point? How would you be able to improve if that were the situation? I'm a vampire. So in this video, I'm going to present some journaling prompts, and we are going to try to tamp down the negative self-talk. It will never go away, I don't think, but we can at least try to make it a little less. All right, look at us out in the woods and stuff. So this is not the woods. There's a shopping center up that way, maybe like a 5-minute walk, and then back that way is where I came from, and there's a major street that way. So yes, let's get into these journaling prompts. Of course, I would like for you to pause in between the prompts and maybe take 5 minutes and write what you feel, and we will enjoy the sounds of the birds and the people walking by or whatever. Our first journaling prompt is, what's the worst name you've called yourself recently? And where did that come from? Our second prompt is, I didn't want to use funeral. I feel like everyone says funeral. That's played out to me, and it's morbid. I don't like to think about that. But maybe a wedding or maybe a roast. If your friends and family were to speak at an event that is held in your honor, that is positive and hopefully not centered around your death, what would they say? What nice, kind, beautiful things would they say about you? Write it down. All right, our next prompt is, what are 3 things? It was 5, but I'll make it easier. I'll make it 3. What are 3 things that you can think of that would disprove the things that you've been saying about yourself? Maybe it's something that you've done. Maybe it's something that someone said about you that would be the opposite of what you've been saying about yourself. So our next thing that we're going to do is, I want you to think of a mantra or phrase or affirmation or whatever you want to call it that you can say to kind of shut yourself down when you are being negative towards yourself. Maybe it could be stop and breathe. That's one I use a lot. Or maybe it is that true? Is that true? Or maybe you could say, that's not right. Let's try that again. Or you could say maybe cut, let's go to the next scene, or something like that. What is something you can say to just stop yourself in that moment when you are starting to go down into the negative spiral? Write it down. So we've done kind of a mental stop, a mental way of putting on the brakes when we're saying something negative. Now, what is something physically that you might be able to do? If I'm really feeling a certain type of way about something, it does help for me to physically change my location, or maybe just turn and face a wall or something, call a friend, call someone, text someone, to kind of get myself, kind of jolt myself out of that thinking. So what is something physically that you could do in order to snap yourself out of it and start to put yourself back into that positive mindset? Now, on the other hand, in what ways could what you said actually be a good thing? In what ways could all those negative things that you've been saying about yourself be a catalyst for change? Write it down. All right. How do you feel now? Do you feel a little better about yourself, about the way things are going in your life, how smart you are, how wonderful you are as a person? You're obviously a wonderful person. You're watching my channel. How do you feel now that you've done these prompts? Leave me a comment. Let me know if there's something that you've been saying about yourself and what you've done to reverse that and start to think differently. You don't want to hear all that. You want to get onto the weekly spread. So we're going to go to the other portion of our video now, and we're going to go back to my house, to my apartment, and I will set up my weekly spread and we will get ourselves started for the week. And here I am eating a popsicle and showing you our quote of the week. It is: the most common way people give up their power is thinking they don't have any, and that is Alice Walker. Hey everyone, all right, so let's get into our weekly spread portion of the video. Yes, I feel it was a good week. I am on the hunt for a new highlighter because a couple weeks ago I mentioned that the Sharpie highlighters, they fade over time, and that for some reason makes me very sad to look at. Not even I could see if it were like 5 years or something, or a year, that the marker is faded. But if it's just like 2 weeks ago and I highlight something and I go back and it's faded, that makes me so sad, and it makes me feel like more time has passed than has actually passed. So it's like I didn't know I was marking time by highlighter, but I guess I am. So I ordered these highlighters on Amazon, but I opened the package and I wasn't really paying attention to what it was, and I started and then I realized this is kind of light. Like, what the? So I had ordered fluorescent highlight. Do you guys care about any of this? I don't know. And they sent me pastels. And then I've created another little challenge for myself. As I have a page, I didn't really think about this, as I have a page covered in post-it notes, and this over here, these are actually reused post-it notes, but my point is that I am challenging myself to not use as many post-it notes, or really post-it notes at all, because I want to get everything into my journal and get all the things back into the journal, have it all in one place. On the one hand, it kind of scares me to do that, because then that means I will go through my journals that much faster. I don't know why. It's like, oh, I have to buy more. It's costing me more money. No. But I think in the long run that would be better. And that way I can just stop having all of these Post-its scattered around the room and getting lost. And all of my ideas and thoughts and lists and stuff are just everywhere. So that's the goal. So I decided to designate so I have my little scribble area here. This whole thing is a scribble this week, especially. So I just leave this part blank, and just whatever comes to mind, I put things. And then I also decided this week to just have an entire page devoted to different things that come into my mind, and I keep my journal at my desk now, and just if I need something, I go ahead and write it down. Scary thought, hot take: what if remote is not for me, like working remotely? what if I need to be in the office? Can I tell you, it being October, that's like Halloween right there. That is a very scary thought for me. But yeah, I thought about it like maybe I do need a boss looking at me while I work. I don't know. I don't want to say that too loudly, but it's something that crosses my mind. Okay, so this is the weekly spread. First, what I will do is write my intention of the week. That way I can get in the right frame of mind, get pumped up, get ready for the coming week. Here we are. Here's our intention of the week. I intend to pay more attention to how I speak to friends, and even strangers on the street. I am usually, not always, but usually bright, positive, empathetic, and kind when I speak to them. Why not save a little of that for myself? This week and going forward, I want to speak in a loving and caring, encouraging way to myself. I crossed that out. I put non-critical, and I was like, that didn't sound right, so I wanted to put encouraging. I think it's a good idea to just compare and contrast how you speak to other people versus how you speak to yourself, and ask why, if it is different, ask why it is so different, and how you can start to make it a little bit more on the positive end of the spectrum. So all right, and so I'm gonna write my goal for the quarter. It is a very short goal. When I write shitty for my job, it's really not that it's a shitty job. It's just shitty for Alicia. It is not suited to my temperament. And then I'll put and figure out what to do instead. I did the thing that I tend to do whenever I say, yeah, I'm going to be a freelance writer, is to say, okay, I'm going to write all these cold pitches. I'm going to join all the writing platforms, and I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to make my portfolio and my resume. I write all these things down, and then I say, why have I not actually ever done any of these things? It's been years. And then I realized, what is it that I want? What do you want? I want to be paid to write. All right, I want to work remotely, and I do not want to work in a customer service role, which is what I do now. So those three things don't necessarily mean that I have to be a freelance writer. Okay, I can be a copywriter and work for a company and just get a regular 9-to-5 job, but I am an employee of a company. I'm on the payroll. Okay, I have health insurance. I have a steady paycheck that comes every 2 weeks probably, and that is it. And that thought had never really occurred to me as an option, because it's always like, yeah, go freelance. You can do your own thing. You can write whatever you want, and you can sail your own ship, and all of that is well and good. And I have in my life always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I always have like a little side hustle going of something or another, not necessarily writing, but always something. And so it is hard to kind of lean more into the idea of just being an employee of a company, when it's like, yes, I would love the freedom that entrepreneurship promises. But then when I think about the things that go into being a freelance writer, yes, you have to constantly market yourself. You have to constantly network. I think for now, I am going to focus for the next few months on becoming an employee and being a copywriter that works for one company, and that's it. and that is such, like, that is just blowing my mind right now. I really don't have like specific weekly tasks that I'm going to be working on, except for this week. I want to do a deep dive into my portfolio, but I'm not going to put weekly tasks because that's not what this is. But yeah, just things that I know I need to do in the near future, and I will figure out how to incorporate them into my to-do list for the coming few weeks. The reason I'm very kind of strict on putting them in the order is that it helps me, because I don't cross these off until late at night before I go to bed, and sometimes I will forget. I will forget what I did that same morning, and so it helps to have the things in order, and then I can say, yes, I did my 500 words before I went for my walk, and I did the walk before I read my goals and all of that, and I did all the things. So it just really helps to have everything in order, and then when I'm thinking back over the course of the day, I can remember, and then I get my X's that I deserve. Okay, and now I will do my to-do list. And now I will put my calendar, try and make it straight. Look at you, professional calendar stamper. For Friday and Saturday, I don't really put I don't put little check boxes, because those are either YouTube or writing. So those are really the only tasks that I want to be doing. If they're not related to those that I don't want, I mean, it's not to say I don't do other things on those days. It's just that I'm not going to assign tasks for myself to do. I don't know why I wrote these in all caps. I'm yelling at myself. Friday, Saturday, YouTube and writing. Wow. I'm totally yelling at myself this week in a loving way, because it's an encouraging thing that I'm doing here. Okay, it's not anger yelling. Just so you know. I just realized that I did not put the week that it is. So that's the first time I've ever done that. I looked at the calendar and I was like, okay, but what week is it? And then I look over here. I don't know what week it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it is the October 13th through the 19th. Woo! Now I want to put a little space to remind myself of things for next week. Okay, so October, I'm not going to yell for that. October 20th through the 26th. Okay, and then October 27th through, what would that be? November 2nd. Okay, so now, see, that gives me a little chance to kind of start to plan ahead for the coming weeks. If there are any appointments or events or whatever that I want to get ready for, I put it here. And there we go. I had a fall theme last week, and I'm not doing that anymore. October's just another month to me now. So I'm just going to use this thin Sharpie, what is this, an ultra fine point, and I'll just mark the week. That is it. This is my weekly spread. I hope this helps you think about different ways that you can be a little kinder to yourself. That is one of the, things that I always like to think about on the channel, is just ways of being nicer to our present self and our future selves. So yeah, just maybe pay some attention this week to how you speak to yourself, and see how you can make that a little more positive and a little more kind and encouraging going forward. And I give you the upside down wave goodbye. Have a good week.